Dr. Mindy here, and I'm going to answer literally the most common question I get about fasting. The most common. And that is, will coffee pull me out of a fasted state? I'm going to answer that in the most simplistic way I possibly can. What I want you coffee drinkers to know when it comes to fasting is that there are some rules you need to follow. Ready for them? First, it has to not raise your blood sugar. Okay, now this is weird because it may raise your blood sugar and not mine. So I want to make sure that you understand that this is a bio-individual process. I can't tell you an absolute here. So test it on your blood sugar. How do you test it? You take a blood sugar reading, you drink your cup of coffee, and then you take another reading an hour later. Are those two readings about the same? If they are, it did not pull you out of a fasted state. If that number goes lower, the second number goes lower than the first number, it may have even put you more into a fasted state. And what I'm going to show you about coffee right now, you're going to see that it may actually be a tool to drive you deeper into a fat burning place. So that's the blood sugar test. If your blood sugar raises about 5 points or higher, it's moving towards moving you out of a fasted state. 10 points or higher definitely moved you out. Now, I know that I have a worldwide audience, so some of you have different numbers of measurements for that blood sugar than we do here in America. But I'm going to go with the American numbers, and I'm going to give you an example. Would be like if your blood sugar was 70 when you woke up, you drank your cup of coffee, and then an hour later it was 80, you've pulled yourself out of a fasted state. If it was 70, you drink your cup of coffee, an hour later it's at 75. Ooh, that's kind of sort of in the middle. If you drink it and it's still 70 in that second, an hour afterwards or lower, it's actually helping your fasting efforts. So that is the first way to test it. Now, what type of coffee do you want to have? Okay, I'm going to show you some of my favorite to have. For starters, the second rule to the coffee in a fasted window theory is that you've got to have it be clean coffee. So coffee has a lot of pesticides in it. It has a lot of chemicals. And so we want to make sure that you're always having clean coffee. On my website, you can find a ton of my favorite clean coffees. Here in my house, I just pulled out, I sometimes do a cold brew in the morning, or I'll heat it up with a little water. Or our favorite coffee company is called Cosmic Coffee. They do ship here in America. We know the people that make it, which is really important to us. We like to shop local. We like to know who our farmers are. We like to know who our baristas are, our coffee blend. People who are passionate about the food that we're making is important to us. So I just know that Carlos and Jolene are super passionate about their coffee and that it's clean, mold-free, no pesticides. So I feel pretty good drinking this in the morning. We have other brands too on our webpage that we vetted for you. So second rule is it has to be clean. First rule is it can't raise your blood sugar. Okay? So those are the first two major foundational rules. Okay, third rule. You are going to want to put some fat in it. So this is really important because it will move you over into that fat burning system better. And the first fat I would recommend is MCT oil. It is actually known to move you quicker into a ketogenic state. Now, I've sat with a lot of people who have asked me, well, I don't really drink coffee, but I want to move over to fat burning faster. Should I think about drinking coffee? And the answer is no. I'm not trying to start any coffee habits here for people, but I do want you to know that organic MCT oil is a facilitator of ketones. It will help you produce ketones. So if you're not going to put it in coffee, you could put it in water. I've had people do that in the morning. You could put it in tea. But the reason for that is it will help you move into fat burning. It will help you get into that ketogenic state quicker, which will lower your hunger and heighten your mental clarity. So that's MCT oil. Now, what about cream? We get asked that a lot. So if you're going to do cream, my first preference is to do raw cream. I like raw cream because it has enzymes and probiotics that help my microbiome. And often when I put raw cream with a little MCT oil and some clean coffee in my cup, that's kind of my go-to in the morning, I not only feel more mentally clear, but I do notice that ketones come quicker. So now, every once in a while I don't have my raw cream and I have to use pasteurized organic cream. That's not as good because really pasteurized milk is dead food. They heated it up, there's no enzymes, there's no probiotics, so that's not great. So you might want to avoid that pasteurized milk, but every once in a while I do it. I prefer the raw. So those are kind of the go-tos when it comes to coffee. Oh, I know another one that a lot of you like to put in is collagen powder. I've now put that in my eating window because I do feel like for me it can pull me out of that fasted state. It also has a tendency to take me out of autophagy. So I'm using it to break my fast these days. So I don't put collagen powder in anymore. I save it for my eating window.
Okay, check this out. I have a free fasting guide for you all. It's free, and it's going to teach you all the basics of fasting. It's going to teach you how to kill hunger when you fast, which is really cool, and it's going to show you how to break your fast, among many other things. All you got to do is click on the link below and enjoy.
But coffee in general, I know a lot of you, especially women, you're concerned about it for hormones. I think you just it's personal preference. You got to decide. I think Starbucks every day would be hard on your liver. It would be hard on your hormones. But when we're doing clean coffee in a very intentional way, like I just described to you, I think you'll find that your hormones will be well preserved. But overall, I'm a fan of coffee and I like it for fasting. I think it is like that crutch. I mean, how many of us have held on to our cup of coffee, like trying to make it through another hour of fasting? So many of us have done that. And when you do it the way I just showed you, I think you'll notice that it works really well. But as always, you got to test it on you. So I hope that helps. Let me know any questions you have. If you have any good coffee hacks, we are a community here, so put them in the notes. But as always, you're the miracle. The coffee's not the miracle. The fasting's not the miracle. You're the miracle. And when you dive into how all this stuff works, you start to see just how miraculous your body was built to be. Hope that helps.
Okay, where are my gals that are struggling with hormonal imbalance? Bloated, feeling like you're not making progress with weight loss? You need to add these foods in so that you can support better hormonal health. There is a lifestyle that estrogen wants you to live, and there's a lifestyle that progesterone wants you to live.